the sun rises across Uganda, a new dawn in luxury living awakens. Solana Lifestyle and Residences is Uganda's newest, most prestigious and award-winning lifestyle destination, an address for those who dream differently. At Solana, you're close enough to the hustle of the city, but far enough to come home to a sanctuary of smart living. Join a community of like-minded individuals where everything is taken care of and safety and security come standard, where each community has a clubhouse, play area, pool, and other incredible features. Let an oasis of calm greet you at the end of each day with manicured gardens, pathways, parks, bicycle tracks, and so much more. Whether you're upscaling or settling down, buying a first home or investing,
Solana has it all. Uganda is now open to the world.
Imagine waking up to a dream where luxury meets tranquility. Welcome to Solana Lifestyle and Residences, a sanctuary of elegance where every detail is curated for your comfort. From impeccable security to serene garden pathways, Solana offers more than a home. It's a lifestyle. Now, your dream is within reach. Solana's exclusive New Year's sale is here. Buy your home today, starting from just $139,000 US. Solana Lifestyle and Residences, now ready for occupancy. Live, work, play, and shop the Solana way.
And very, very, very good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining school. Welcome to school. Welcome to school. This is that particular hour. This is that particular time when we compose ourselves and we say, let's study about money. My name is Mboa Apple, and I am your headmaster of this school. I am about to come and collect school fees. I am not happy with the way school fees is coming in, but I will be sending notifications to your parents. And maybe I will hold you back and not give you a report. I can give the parents a report, I will hold you back until they pay the school fees. But thank you so much every time you join us for these 2 hours and we compose ourselves into school and we want to learn about money. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. At NSSF, we believe this is something we can do for our members, with our members. Why? Because the stories need to change. I have missed this platform. I have missed you for the last 2 months. Anna Maria has held forth, and it has gotten me thinking that actually there is no one that is indispensable. But I'm here. Anna Maria, thank you, and I'm not bringing you back unless you take my position. Allow me to start. My job is usually to introduce this program. My panel is already waiting. I am so excited. I'm more excited about it than people out there. But if the back office team is kind enough to flash my good slides, I just want to start and share with you this. As I said, welcome to school. That is my welcome to you guys, and saying welcome. And I need to share a few reminders. Mine is to share these reminders, then I will hand over to the class teacher who is already here, and the subject matter experts are already also seated. We are living longer, ladies and gentlemen. It's a brief reminder. We are living longer. There's a 53% chance that a lady at 65 years is going to live up to 85 years. And this morning, even as we are starting this show, we had a prayer. Even yourself, you had a prayer. You asked God to give you long life. And God heard. And he answered. He's going to give you long life. But are you preparing for that long life? Because you're asking God, and then you will change. 10 years later, you'll be asking God, please take me, because you did not prepare. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the time when we prepare. We are doing our part to prepare you. At 65 years, there is also ladies with husbands still alive are likely to live up to 85 years. So the statistics are slowly changing on longevity. You are going to live longer. The statistics are changing. But the statistics at NSSF still, I usually want to show you this slide and just keep putting it in front of you so that you remember, you have this at the top of head. The statistics at NSSF are not getting better. Why? 83% of our members have a balance with us which is less than 10 million. 83%. So when you hear someone saying, I would have built a house, but my money is with NSSF, please ask him, is he sure? Is he sure that money is above 10 million? And the biggest damning bit about this is 50% of those members have a balance less than 1 million. 1 million at NSSF. Yes, are you all right? Are you heard right? Only 4% of our members, 4% of our members have a balance above 50 million. 4% of our members. Now start looking where you say you lie. Fortunately, we have solved that. We can no longer whine about this, and at the end of this program, I'll be sharing with you a QR code how you can cure this. And if the persons on the platforms can give you a link, you can actually add to this balance. You can put more money for yourselves on this balance using our Smart Life Flexi. I will talk about that. 5% of people who have graced the working field, 5%, you have worked, only 5% are able to live a life better or equal to what they were living when they are working. 95% have to drop in level. They actually drop. They have to return to the village, only to find that the village also became town. They can't even afford the village. Ladies and gentlemen, it becomes so frustrating when you are going to the village with all your English that has now turned into vernacular, and they can't accommodate you anymore. So what are you doing about this? Ladies and gentlemen, for us, we shall keep, our job is to talk and to highlight this, but the role for change of this is practically, is actually yours. We pay out over 100 billion every month. I was telling my panel today, and they were saying, you are lying. They cannot see 100 billion entering the economy every month. Yes, it does. It gets into the hands of its owners. And those owners, we are sad to report that in 2 years, they can't show you evidence that they ever received their biggest check from NSSF. If the back office is kind enough to go to the next slide so that I don't depress you any further. So we are doing this even this year. Yes, we are doing this. We are doing school. We are calling you to school. We are putting you in school so that we reverse those statistics. We want to build a financially empowered membership, and we want our members to have options. Ladies and gentlemen, you need to be at 55 quarreling with options. Which money you need to eat first? Do you need to eat the NSSF money? Do you need to eat your unit trust money? You need to be confused with your options. You do not have to retire when you only have one option. Because when you retire with only one option, you will die. Because that option might also frustrate you. When someone applies for NSSF and they tell them wait for 21 days, they feel like they have been punished, they have been abused, because it is almost life and death that they get that money now. So we are saying this, we are doing this so that we have options as NSSF members, as the national citizens, so that you have options. You have NSSF, you have a unit trust, you have SACCO, you have rentals, you have something in the farm, you have a business, you have a skill, and today we are going to talk about skill. So we are doing this, and we would like you to, we will continue doing this as much as the time permits us, as much as the jobs permit us, so that we can get to that point when everyone is financially empowered, and we can no longer talk about only 5% being financially independent. If you go to the next slide, we will see, I just want to remind you that our process is to follow. Why the wealth process follows a very, very unique but not very complicated path. The wealth journey is about getting money. Each of you there, the persons listening to us, you are actually getting money. It may not be enough money, but you are still getting money. So you're already participating in this wealth process. And enough is relative. We'll have a discussion at a certain time where we'll say, what is enough? Actually, what do you call enough? You could share with us what enough means in the chat, what enough means for you. But what is enough? But if, as long as you are getting money, you are on the wealth journey. You continue on the wealth journey if you are getting money and keeping some money. So getting is the easy part. Keeping is what differentiates us. Most of us are getting money, but not all of us are keeping aside some money. And I'm talking about keeping voluntarily. I'm not talking about keeping NSSF strangling you and getting it off your beat. Are you actually keeping? I mean, how can you be a 50-year-old and you say, all I have in savings is NSSF? So meaning all you have done is NSSF has strangled you for the last 20 years to keep for you money. You have never kept money. You are not in the process. You are not on the wealth journey. When money is kept, it shouldn't just be kept. Money needs to grow. So make sure where you are keeping it, it's actually growing. Now you're on the wealth journey. And when money starts growing, then we can start speaking of sustainability. Now we can think of, what will I leave behind? You can start having those conversations. We shall be having a rumor with you, gossiping, you're talking about sustainability when you haven't kept any money, you haven't grown any money. And now you're talking about, I need to make a will. To do what? For what? When you have nothing. But once you have gone through this journey, you can talk about sustainability. You can talk about money outliving you. It's always natural that money should outlive us. We shouldn't outlive money. You shouldn't be buried on the debts. You shouldn't be buried on your grandchildren's money. You should actually, when you die, people should say, this man has really died. But you shouldn't die and say, hey, thank God, but let him rest in peace. So ladies and gentlemen, sustainability, that's another conversation. But the most beautiful thing, and I want, maybe you could be hearing this for the first time from me, the most beautiful part about money, about wealth, is eating. Ladies and gentlemen, we do all this so that we can eat money. And I'm here advising you, please eat money. But which money are you eating? Most of you are eating on your capital. You are eating on money you haven't even earned. You are getting a salary and you are thinking, that's all my money. No, that money has some other thing. But when you have kept grown money and it is being able to sustain, and it is giving you fruits, it is giving you eggs, no one is going to accuse you of spoiling or of eating money. If you are eating 100 million of your 1 billion that has come in as profit, I mean, who will accuse you that you are spoiling money? So eating is that beautiful part of money, and we should always aspire. I can tell you, in the last few shows when I haven't been around, I took off some time to go and eat money, and it is a beautiful thing when you can eat money without worrying about where has it come from. When you have planned for it and it is, you can't, for that minute you have no cares. You actually order water and you don't care how much it costs. But now we are saying, is it Spice Diana or Renzori? No, you give me the one of 500. You can even take from the tap. That part is not a good place to be. So ladies and gentlemen, when you get money, keep that money. Keep part of the money and let it grow so that it is sustained and you can eat from the fruits. My parting shots, I always want to share this, then we'll get into we have wealth journey characters, and I want to talk about 4 things and then hand over to my panel. As I want to always give you a disclaimer that this panel is not of experts, but of people with experience, and each one of you out there has experience dealing with money. So do not be there trying to ask them for very huge things and say, why don't you talk about the wealth appetite of this nation? No, they are going to be sharing from their experience. Number 1, as we talk about the 9 to 5, there are so many things you are failing to do, or you are refusing to do, or you are unable to do just because you are fearful. Most of you are fearful and also spreading fear. You are saying you have that unreasonable fear to risk. I have met so many people in my life who have never lost money because they fear to lose money. They fear risk, so they have never lost money. But I've also noticed one thing, they are still poor. I have not met a wealthy person who has not lost money. So sometimes when some people are telling you do something and your reaction is fear, I'll lose my money. Sometimes you even don't have the money to lose. Fear. You do not play not to lose. You play to win. Get into that character. As you're doing, you a corporate, play in the field where you are playing to win. Play to live. We've been discussing, and I hope they will bring it out in good English. The life journey is this is a life journey. We are not walking for a goal. We are walking through life, and we need to live through life. Number 2, if they are kind enough to show you that number 2. My number 2, they are cynics. They are people who are cynic about everything. They talk reasoning. Their reasoning is from ignorance. Their sky is falling. Doom is coming. Why are you keeping that money? We are going to die. I have just shown you are not going to die. You have already prayed and asked God not to die, and now you are saying we are going to die. How are you? Why are we saving? Saving for what? They are always spreading doom. For them, nothing succeeds. You are trying. Someone is trying to do it. Let's see how far they go. Those schemes are for thieves. When we shall talk about smart life, can you save 5,000 and say, those guys, NSSF wants to steal our money. NSSF is building, those houses they're building for the ministers, for the thieves. So you are always cynical about anything, and you find yourself in a place where you are not doing much. Ladies and gentlemen, number 3, I need to leave you because my panel is now heated up and I'm ready to really listen from them. There is corporate laziness. Corporate laziness. The busy, too busy syndrome. People are so busy, too busy. Ladies, let me debunk this for you. If you are that person who is always too busy, overwhelmed by work, urgent assignment always, you are in constant motion daily, you are seeming to work, but you have zero productivity, it is corporate laziness. You are just lazy. You are not actually busy. You are not that important that when you are not away, the corporation is going to close. But you have used it as an excuse on not doing the things you ought to do, that you are too busy. When they tell you now need to think about your wealth journey, you need to tune into class right now and say, no, we are too busy. We have a meeting here. We have a meeting there. It is most likely that you are lagging behind on your deliverables. You have not delivered in time, and that's what we call incompetence. You need to have a talk with HR and they grade you. Are you actually busy for production, or you are busy because you are incompetent? And lastly, bad manners. Ladies and gentlemen, most of us just have bad manners. We have bad manners, and it is disturbing us as we talk about it: procrastination, neglect, inaction, ignorance, fear, self mismanagement. We are grossly mismanaging ourselves. As we talk of we put it in the corporate world, saying there is mismanagement of funds, but there is gross mismanagement of yourself. You are not arriving anyway on time. You are not keeping your meetings within time. You can take a whole day discussing. You are workshopping things. Let's workshop this idea. You are sending ideas to the morgue. You are doing so many things, and this is bad manners. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not going to do so much beyond your 9 to 5 if you have this. And lastly, allow me to, as I invite our good panel, it's always our tagline to tell you that and to remind you that we need to act. Because here at NSSF, here at Financial Literacy class, we believe that action changes things. ACT is our acronym for action changes things. Now, if you have heard and you have listened, we have a QR code there. Please scan it. That is one of the steps. As NSSF, we've been talking about action, but we have never given you chance. We have never given you a product where you could actually act. This product is saying, if you have 5,000, you can start on your wealth journey, or you can continue because you're not starting. You already have NSSF. You're already doing so many other things. So you can continue. You can enhance your wealth journey. Scan that QR code and then follow the steps. 5,000. Make sure I have 5,000. Now, this is one of the tests I'm going to start testing yourself. Do I actually have 5,000 on the phone? Oh, I am living in that life. MTN Manja. You send on another number. Scan that QR code and you'll be able to start on our Smart Life. Our team is going to be on standby to answer any questions around the Smart Life. They will even post for you a link you can do if you don't have a smartphone that can scan or the camera is dead. They'll post and we'll be answering this as we go on. But for now, Flavia is in the house. Flavia is in the house. I mean, I want to keep saying this so that people understand that I know Flavia. You know, some of these people, when you know, you can just walk into the bank and say, I know Flavia, and they will get you. They will actually give you money. Flavia, welcome.
Thank you.
Flavia is a media personality and currently the head of broadcast. I don't know what that means. It's another wizard word in corporate, but head of broadcast.
Yeah.
And Flavia, just to give you a heads up, in this class, I am called Sir Headmaster Sir. Please say it after me.
Sir, yes, sir.
No. Sir Headmaster Sir.
Sir Headmaster Sir.
Yes. And we shall call you Fula for this one.
Okay.
So,
Finished.
Fula is here to take us through.
Yeah.
Flavia, these guys are ready for you.
Thank you.
Please, take us away.
Sir Headmaster, sir.
Good girl.
Thank you so much. And yes, we know each other. Please, when you see him, you see me. Yeah, please act accordingly. Approve. Welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. I guess it's welcome to me because I think this is home for a lot of you. You've been here for the many classes. Headmaster, he's fired the basa, Anne-Marie, but it's okay. We're all here to learn. And I passionately think that this is a conversation we should have been having like 50 years ago. You know, I think it's not a 9 to 5, it's an 8 for some, a 7 for some, a 6 a.m. like some of us to 5. Actually, there's no, sometimes there's no end. But what we're trying to say is that job that you do, the everyday thing, the thing that I wouldn't say covers you, because clearly that's why you're looking for something else. But that thing that you do, some of you are in jobs happy, unhappy. You know, you're using the company time and data to apply for another job, but we're not going to go. That is a whole other conversation for Headmaster for another day. But welcome. I'm Flav. First time physically, but we've had a conversation on her wealth journey. First time physically, but we've had a conversation on her wealth journey, where she is a co-founder in Lighting Bulbs and Edutainment, not even Edutainment, because she's given a couple of books to my son, my oldest son, and it was just unique. Her business is unique, okay, to assist us parents who are trying to have our children grow their minds, which is fantastic. A team leader, a strategic thinker, and is very passionate about people development, which explains why she's been with Headmaster for many times to try and teach you. Please welcome Brenda Arinda. Welcome, your son, Madam. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, Flavia.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Good
Excited to hear about your journey and your story.
Same.
And then I also have, for this sandwich, a quality assurance expert. Currently, you're the head of quality assurance at Nearest. Yeah. I looked at it as, okay, Nearest, you're a global leader in catering and in-flight services. So I would have asked you which flight we have been on that day, but we might not. Yeah,
a couple of them.
A couple of them. Yeah. Yes. You are a strategist as well, business strategist actually, a mentor. Yeah. Because I think you've got a product as well for that particular thing. But what I also know you for is that you are the founder of Dell Optics. I was singing to you about how my ears need fixing, my eyes, sorry. Yeah. My eyes need glasses because I can barely see. I've turned those people who have to drag a paper close to them. So well done. Regan Kauma, how are you?
Excited to be here.
Yeah? Okay, so I don't think we're close to the edge of getting our money out of NSSF, the three of us.
Not even close.
But we're obviously saving with NSSF, the three of us. Now, I know that the corporate world, some are not even in the corporate world as we call it, but there are people who constantly complain that what they make, I'll bet to say that I think even us three here have probably said it at one point, if we're being honest. Yeah. At one point, not in the current jobs we have, those ones are perfect, but at some point we've said that sente tezikola, you know, and that begs the question that even Headmaster hinted on that will money be enough? Do you know what I mean? That is it going to be enough? And there are people who are on two sides, that they believe you can actually use your 9-to-5 job to accumulate money that can take you to wealth. Yeah. Which side do you like? We'll start with you, Brenda. Which side are you saying no, not possible, or it is possible for some, for all? Where do you like?
Thank you, Flavia, and allow me appreciate the NSSF team, though I'm part of the NSSF team. But
thank
for
you.
Sir, Headmaster Sir, for inviting me in this space. I think he saw something in me, in the work that I do, and in Lighting Bulbs, Edutainment, and said, come and be part of this panel. To answer your question on which side do I lie, do I stick to the 9-to-5 to get me the wealth that I desire, or do I then involve other...
Is it possible?
It is possible. I've spoken to some people who have said it's possible for them, but they are also very fixed onto their career. They have done things that have enabled them keep moving up the ladder and be able to attain that money, but have also had money discipline.
The bad manners,
the bad manners are not there. So they have the money discipline and have done some passive investments that have enabled them then stick to just the 9-to-5 and attain the wealth. Though where I am right now, I think I go on the other side. I go on the other side because also the nature of the energy I have So you find that probably you're doing this job and then you realize maybe your purpose, your passion is still, you know, calling on the other side. And as you said, Flavia, my lighting bulbs edutainment is mainly for children. And when I do it, I get some type of fulfillment, some type of energy that honestly I cannot explain in words. But I know when it fuels me over the weekend, on Monday, I'm doing the best at NSSF. I'm delivering 100%. So when I don't want to lose that energy, that fuel, then I may not stick here as a straight line. So it's a two-way for me. But I go for the school of thought that the side business, the side priorities, or the side purpose, that fuel that I can say that will later turn into some monetary value for me, would lead me as well to my health, to my wealth that I desire.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will share my opinion on that, or my answer on that, but I want to first hear which side are you on? Is it possible to actually use your 9 to 5 and actually grow your wealth?
Yes. And two-way.
Okay.
Because if you're earning the salary that Apollo spoke about, the one of 500 million per whenever, it's very possible.
Yeah.
But if that is not your case and you're an average Ugandan, like some of us, you can still use your 9 to 5 to be the starting point to build what you need to build, because we have to start somewhere.
Exactly. So some accumulate to then build the side hustle.
Exactly.
Some accumulate for the passive income somewhere and different. So I think mine is a unique one. I've never had it until now. I've never had an in quote unquote 9 to 5. I've had 4 hours, 2 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours, and that's it. Sometimes twice a month. Sometimes. So I think mine has been quite unique. But I would still mentally regard it as a 9 to 5. Yeah. Some of us, the nature of work we've done over the years, you earn sometimes large sums of money in one go, and then blank drought. And then another chunk of money where now the discipline comes in. So from where I sit, it's possible, right? Then, so just from the industry or the sector that I've been in, then I come down to now saying the discipline, right, is down to the habits, you know, how you keep the money. Because even the person with, let's say, 1 million shillings a month, I mean, I've seen that firsthand, where that person has a home, is feeding the children, they're going to school. Then you, who's probably earning 5, you're in debt, you know. So what I know is that less money, more money, it's down to habits. But I also go down to the passion. You're very multi-passionate, you know, I guess all of us in one way or another. And that's why she's saying that, yes, I will deliver at my job, I'll come, I'll earn, whatever. This is also to fuel me to be able to do my job. Now, I am the one person who believes business is not for, business in the sense of business is not for me. But career, you can close my eyes, I can sleep, and I will, that ladder doesn't even exist. So strengths, right? And I have tried over time to get out of the 9 to 5 and go through the side hustles, the business. And I always find myself, you know how you're at work, go looking at the side hustle. Me, I'll be at the side hustle looking at the work. So, and I think there are people like that who know, because they've had Flavia, Brenda, and Regan say, you know, get something on the side and build. We force ourselves to get out of the 9 to 5 to go and build a business we won't sustain, we won't manage, we have no clue to do, we have no passion for, just to make that extra income. So I'm more of the school of thought of what's in here. Can you monetize it? So I could sit in the office, even if it's for how many hours. The other day I was doing a Zoom to teach on personal finance, and that's a source of income. So for me, I'm more of the side of, it doesn't have to be goods coming in from China. Let's open ourselves to that. The wealth journey actually must include you first. What can we monetize on you and what you do to make you that income, and then have the side of business, which is why I'm glad it's the three of us, because that's different angles to it. So I'd looked at a couple of things. Intentional financial planning. I want us to start there and not just directly going straight into it, because I could have the side hustles, I could have the 9 to 5 and not know how to intentionally plan. Because you see, when we say finding your wealth path, wealth is a
journey.
It's a journey over time. What are things that just generally you must be intentional about as you build wealth, as you plan for financial freedom, whether you're still just in the 9 to 5 or planning to even venture out? What are those? And there might be even things that are so
Obvious,
small
yeah.
and so obvious. They're not obvious today. Let's say them.
Yeah.
Even you in your journey, as you've been intentional about planning for your finances,
Yeah.
what have you looked to, as even if it's as obvious as possible?
Okay, thank you, Flavia. You see, you said I have 9 years experience in a financial industry, and then there are other years. So when I was starting off from uni, actually from my Form 6, my mom has been in business all through, and she had she does money lending company. It's like, you come, I don't need to employ people, be
You're
our
here.
admin, you're here. And the good thing is I was working in, I was studying in Makere. So I would, work during the day, and then in the evening I go to school. So I got introduced to money really early.
Wow.
And she's one of those people that I truly admire, because she's very shrewd with business, very disciplined with money, and I had the chance to work closely with her and see it. Yeah. So in that journey, before I joined, yes, it was a business, but it was my mom's work. I didn't consider it as corporate. I made a decision that I'm going to stick to business for, I think, the first maybe a year or two after uni. I said I'm going to stick to business, and I tried it. I did catering. I did well. I did well in that catering, but you later realize maybe not. Maybe had I met Reagan then, he would tell me the things I need to put in place for this small business of mine to flourish. So that went down. I did mobile money. I know some people here,
Madam.
Yes. I tested the waters, because you have that desire to earn the money. And I wasn't broke at campus. At least I had some money that kept coming in. I did quite a number of small businesses. I know people who know me for even selling juice, like Tembea juice.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're together.
Really?
Yes.
Hustlers.
Hustlers. So I did that. But I think what really hit it was when I was doing the catering, and my parents would see this graduate, cooking. I would cook from home. I had 2 companies. I was delivering 2 lunch, and they would see me, and we've not. They were not really understood. It didn't add up, and the structure that was there then was really rudimentary. My own knowledge, and saying I'll buy food, I'll sell it, and then we'll move like that. But along the way, as I was doing that business, I think I had to speak to someone I truly trust and said, I think this is not it. And she advised me and told me, you know what, you try the corporate world. Try the corporate world and see how that goes, because you already know how looking for money is difficult. And that's when I started, in the bank, did sales in the bank, because then I had the strength in there and did my bank sales. But all that journey, I'm still understanding what money is. What is the discipline with money? And I don't want to say that it was perfect all through that journey. But I know that it didn't happen for no reason. I learned that to start a business, there are certain things that I need to put in place. And then I took a pause on business. I said, I am going to concentrate in my work journey and that salary, and then bring in the saving, because now I need to be better at the business that I'm doing. And that's when I think we can talk about saving and the discipline that I told you of, that person that can stick to the corporate ladder and still have money discipline. And some of the things with money discipline is saving.
Absolutely.
Very hard. And as I told you, my mom says, save now so that it can save you later. So it's a very hard discipline. It's a very difficult culture that we have in Uganda. In a space as area manager, it's when I go out to convince people to actually save in NSSF, I usually like asking them, how many of you, by show of hands, have any other saving apart from NSF, where we are forcing you, by law to save? How many of you? The room is literally quiet. No one is putting up a hand, because the saving culture is poor. So once we realize that to get that business, and I know Reagan will speak on it as well, to get into that business that you desire, or that passive income, it needs to start with some money. So use your 9 to 5 to save some money, because you're getting income, and see how it can build onto these things that you desire, the businesses, the investments.
What I'm hearing you also say, apart from focus, because that is something you've really hinted on being a necessity, making money sounds easy. Like that making part, you know which corners to go to, which business to try. At least you'll always have some cash, some money somehow. It is the next step that's hard, which is why you're walking into people and they're saying, we don't have any other savings. Because making it, they're making some sort of money, but it's the second part that is harder. Before we dig deep into that, I was also thinking about age, sometimes even gender, like it or not. But let's stick to age so that we don't catch fires with the gender question.
Stress.
I think about when I was younger and it was just me, right? And I didn't have children, I didn't have a partner, weren't planning a dual income, what. And I look at the money and I'm like, what happened to it? You know, what was I doing? Why didn't I know what to do? But it's also that thing of money will always come,
Yeah.
you know. I'm young, I will know. Or you feel like saving the money and putting it away and growing it is just like, you know, like headmaster said, we should eat our money. So I think there's a phase for that. But what I've noticed is that I carried that negativity towards that into my adulthood.
Yeah.
Because the familiar was to make and spend. And making was easy. So I've had to unlearn almost in my adulthood that money might come all the time, but you know, it's not going to, you have to put some mechanisms. But now I want to talk about the 9 to 5 being a cushion.
Yeah.
We're looking at it as in terms of accumulate and save.
Yeah.
But sometimes you want the 9 to 5 to just be a cushion.
Yeah.
That there's some thing coming here that will sort A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Then I can get the side hustle to now do
The other things.
other things. Do you believe that, right?
Yeah, it
For
can
me, I
happen.
feel like that's what I would think of it as. It's a cushion. I don't have to deal with the fuel. I can deal with other big things. Should people probably see it that way as well? That the 9 to 5 isn't just kunganya. It can also be nzijake ebizibu ebimu, and then I can focus on something else.
True. Depends again
Yeah.
where you are. I wanted to first answer your first question.
Yes, intentional.
The question that was speaking to, are there things or particular thing you need to have in place for you to perhaps start this or succeed at this?
Yeah.
And it took me to a study I was reading when I think I just starting the eyes business, Idealotics. In between then, I was just finishing my master's degree, I was working and all. And this study said that at the end of every year, about 83% of working professionals in Uganda, part of their goals is to start something.
Yeah.
Many of them, because at the end of the year, you realize, okay, I think it was all vibes and inshallah. I think I need to up my financial game, my incomes.
Yeah.
So you find many of them, the majority will put that as part of their goals.
Yeah.
But also this study showed something very interesting. Less than 12% of these people actually get to start anything.
We say we want to start.
Yeah, you even have it written down.
I must make money this year.
This year, I swear.
Wabula, I
Things have
should.
to change.
Yeah.
I need to change. I need to start.
It's high,
But
top
that
there.
is only
Even
12%
per
leave.
requests, it's up there.
Yeah.
Starting something, but less than 12% do so. And I went deep down to read through
Why?
that study.
Yeah.
Why? And I noticed the things that tends to frustrate these people or actually hold them back are things that actually Apollo has also hinted on,
Yeah.
such as the fear to
Exactly.
lose the stability, excuses of I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time.
Yeah.
People will just say I don't have enough time. But again, at the end of the day, for me, it came down to this one thing: people not being deliberate enough to make these decisions.
Yeah.
It's never easy. You will never earn more, actually enough, sorry.
Yeah.
Because we always think, you know, I need to earn more than I start. But that's opposite.
Yeah.
You actually need to start to earn more.
Money makes money.
Money makes money. So you need to be very deliberate to say, okay, this is it. What do I need to start from where I am? Of course, if a business needs 100 million, you're looking at it wrong. You can always start whichever.
I shouldn't find all the 100.
Exactly. There's no business that you need to start, from my experience,
Yeah.
where you cannot start with something small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always possible and always within the means for you to do so. So you have to be deliberate. That's one thing I've always learned. And many times I want to start something, I'll procrastinate, I'll give so many excuses. I don't have the time, I'm busy, children, family, work.
Yeah.
I have audits, for example, in my line of work, I have audits almost every 2 weeks. So I always have a reason to say, maybe something is holding me back. And I've noticed that if I choose and I make it a deliberate attempt, many of these things tend to start and they work out for me.
Yeah. So, well, so that we don't belong in the 12%. We can belong in the 12% that starts.
True.
You also have to be honest with yourself. Being intentional about financial planning is being honest with yourself about your strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah, true.
SWOT isn't reserved for the big
Businesses,
organization.
yeah.
It's even for an individual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
There's time, whether we're honest or not, time is a factor. There's people who genuinely don't have it. So you can have the time to run some part of the business, maybe not all. So I've got a business which I co-founded with a friend. I tried to start it for 4 years. And there was just, the excuses were there. I don't want to lose money. I tell you how, I tell you where will the goods come from? I don't know how, I don't know anyone. I don't want to, taxes, I don't understand. Until I found someone who was equally like me, but had a strength on one end. Where I had a weakness, they had a strength. And where they had a weakness, I had a strength. So you complement each other. I will complement it. Said, for me, just understanding the products and marketing them, that's easy for Flavia. Now knowing her inventory, what operations I'm not doing, and she's strong in that. And so we started a business. And then I sat and was honest and said, now my passion is in following my career. So we then put a mechanism, say, let's have someone who's the person who now runs the business. The operations does inventory updates us. So you find that in a month, both of us are only relying on the WhatsApp flow, right? Of this is what's in, this is what, and that is it. And I'm very comfortable and I'm very happy. Which also means the level at which I'm investing in that business is not going to be the risk is not going to be so high because my eyes are not constantly on the business. So I know if I put in too much, we're both giving the business to the other person, literally. So the chances of loss are there. So we can also talk about the limitation, I think that's the word, the limitations of running not just a business or any side hustle, a successful side thing. When you have a 9 to 5. Let's be realistic. Not just start, we can be the 12%. We start a thing, however small, however big. First, what are the chances it's going to grow, scale, be realistic. Since you're both business owners and at different points. How long has the business been on?
Depends on which business.
So let's be realistic about the limitations that come with, you have to grow on both sides. Which one do you stifle and when do you stifle it?
Okay. I like what you said, Flavia, on the SWOT. That SWOT is not for the big organizations. Do you know? And probably you're the person in charge of doing the SWOT for the organization in strategy. You can do that SWOT for yourself, but also for your business. But let me speak to what the 9 to 5 can do for you to plan for your business. You're working for already an established organization. I work with NSSF. There's departments, there's IT, there's tech, there's an HR, there are systems and processes in place. I should learn from it. I should learn that the business that I want to set up, I should learn from the biggest organization, the biggest financial institution in East Africa. If I can't learn from this one, then where else am I going to learn from? So I am in the Chintu, I'm in the system.
You're seeing
I am
firsthand.
Where things are not working, where I'm complaining, I need to understand now.
When it's you.
When it's
you. Who is the owner of the thing?
Of the business. So what the 9 to 5 does for me and what it can do and what we can leverage on is to learn from it and to be able to learn as many skills and master as many skills that we can then take in our 5 to 9, if I may call it.
You're not extracting just money to save up money.
No.
Even those learnings. How was this handled when this person was a disgruntled, person in the department? How was it managed? Because guess what? You're going to now be on the other side handling disgruntled team members. So I hear you.
And as you learn from the business, as you learn from just managing teams, you then know that by the time I'm going to go and do my business, I need to do it right. I need to put the processes in place. And I hear you, Regan, when you say just start with the amount of money that you have. And what I can say about that is when you start, then you start realizing, oh, I hadn't planned for a computer, for instance. I hadn't planned. There's someone whom I was consulting and they told me, you need to have a marketing budget because right now we have a digital economy. You need to put your business online.
Out there.
But to put it online, you need some money, you need some good, pictures, you need some videos, you need some good content that you're going to deliver to be able to get those sales and those numbers up. So you need a budget for it. So if they're budgeting in NSSF, surely can't you also carry that budget into your business? So for me, the 9 to 5, we can leverage and learn from it, learn from the mistakes that are happening therein, get skills that are going to better us. I have a team of 12 amazing people that are serving the people of Mbale, Tororo, and I learn from them. I am vulnerable enough to say, guys, I don't know how we can do this. And then they will teach me something, and they will teach me, and I will learn it. And maybe tomorrow in my business, I can carry that there.
Yeah.
So as we save and as we plan for the business, where you are at that time, get out of, oh, I'm so sad, I don't see the beauty. Learn. Be very intentional and say, now I need to learn, if it's IT that I'm good at, how do I maybe develop the best app that is going to run this business? Or it may not even just be a business that you're going to actively do. Can I develop an app to solve a problem for the food industry? So yes, you're working, you've developed an NSF app, but you have the skills to develop an app that you can sell and bring you income. So for me, I look at the 9 to 5 as a cushion in bettering my skills, a cushion that is going to help me get finances, get money, save up a bit more to fuel my business, but also a learning point. I can make mistakes that maybe I may not afford to make the other side.
Exactly, because it's you, it's your money.
So that's
we can talk about the limitations before I say, is there like a timeline also? Right after you talk about limitations, because are you starting the business someday, leave the 9 to 5?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like we have to kind of think like that. Yeah.
That also depends on you.
As a person.
Because as you said, Flavia is a career person.
Yeah.
So the business might be supplementary
income
for her career. Because for her career, I love the work I do. For example, as Flavia, I love media and all. So whichever the side hustle, I want to continue with my career. For me,
tell us.
People are watching me and they love me so much.
No, it's switched off. Unfortunately, we are off now.
But no, for me, take it from me, if I could have it any other way, the work that I do, I would wish to extend it beyond my own career, because the skills that I have learned, people skills, the actual practical technical skills, I want to extend them beyond the food industry. So that's the
You have a timeline. That's all you can say about this.
I have a timeline, yes. So
which is most people though. Most people watching us have that timeline. Let me just do this job for like 5 years. And then, of course you say 5, sometimes you're there for 8.
Exactly. You keep
but
saying
it's
this year.
This year I am leaving. When I have enough money, I am going. But we've noticed there's never enough money. And sometimes you're using your salary to pay the salaries.
The salaries, yes.
This side, you're using this salary to pay rent.
The other side,
this side. And then you find that you cannot let go of this.
Because this will die.
Do you understand what I mean? I had a business partner. We actually it did not work. Because they were running a 9 to 5, using that 9 to 5 money
to facilitate
the business, but they were frustrated at their 9 to 5.
So they had to.
So it almost felt like, guys, hurry up and make this business work, because
I need to leave.
I need to leave. Yes, I'm ready to leave this side. Why can't this thing pick up? Because I'm tired. So that timeline is something most people need to talk about. But limitations in doing both the 9 to 5 and the business. Does one suffer?
They can suffer. And there's something I always say when I'm speaking about this whole thing about starting business. And I tell people that anyone can start a business, by the way.
Starting.
You can. Anyone can.
Yeah.
But not everybody can start a successful business. And I want to ping on what she has just said, that you need to systemize. Because when people interact with a business...
Let's also remove, because
I'm begging
from headmaster.
Yes, that's what I'm going.
Doesn't want those words that stay here.
Trust me on simplifying things. I specialize in that. When I say systemization, I don't mean QuickBooks. I don't mean Monday.com. No. I mean people need to be able to predict what they're going to get out of your business.
Right.
That's systemization. For example, like you said in the morning, when you come to NSSF, you expect time, efficiency, those things that I know when I meet Flavia or her business, this is what I will get. And the sad part is, like she has said, we come from these big companies. You work with people who know what they're doing. They're highly technical, they're experienced, they're exposed. And then you start your own thing and you underperform, which is very disappointing. And you expect people to keep paying you every single time. Because your own clients in your job will not do that if you did that. So you expect to under-deliver and people still pay you. So one of the limitations are that in your 9 to 5, of course, you will suffer for the start.
Okay.
You
So the
will suffer.
suffering starts off on the other side. It starts off on
9
the
to 5. Why? Because if you don't systemize enough,
Yeah.
you're going to run low on time, money, because now you're using your money to pay the rent
The other
somewhere else,
side,
the
yeah.
staff, the employees.
Yeah.
And then eventually your 9 to 5 also starts to suffer, and eventually you might end up losing both.
Both.
So the success always starts in the systemization. How do I ensure that I, as Brenda, if I put something on the ground, someone who interacts with it will experience the same exact thing every single time they come here?
Yeah.
It's like we go to these restaurants. I will not mention names, but you know, if you go to a restaurant X, every single time you enter, you have high quality customer service.
All the food is out at
Exactly.
within.
That's systemization. There's nothing complicated like, they have maybe a robot doing this.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
They know when you come here, you want someone to smile. Hi, Brenda. Happy to have you here. That's systemization. So if you can put that in place to know system-wise, me, I work from maybe, let me say 7 to 9. My system is, after 9, I have 1 hour for my business to follow up.
Yeah.
Is that enough though?
System.
Depends on the nature of business.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
you apportion the time based on the nature of business and the age of the business. Because you will find, for example, I'm here, but I'm not at where my business is
Yeah.
at, and it's still running. And if you went there, they don't even have to call me that you came, but I will know that you came. Systems. And nothing complicated. It's a mere, like you said, maybe it's a WhatsApp message that we had Flavia as a customer.
Exactly, yeah.
Basic things that...
Because not everybody, especially this market, we're talking to small and medium.
Exactly.
We're not talking to the people who can afford branches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You're with NSSF, but the scale, I mean, I was telling you this before we got on air, the scale at which NSSF does things.
Yeah, is massive.
The data, the way
Yeah.
they're able to, like, for me, it's a whole other level. It's
Yeah.
the level, in fact, I
Yeah.
hold them, I'm like, those
Yeah.
are the standards, do
Yeah,
it.
true.
But I may not be able to hold my team to those
Same
standards in my
yes,
business
Yeah,
because, first of all, we're not at that same threshold
true.
of business. And so even to talk to our viewer at that level,
At that level, yes,
that
true.
what does systems look like
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
first, it's just you
Yeah,
in a business.
yeah,
Then what does systems look like when you say, let me just add
This level,
Reagan
yeah,
to
yeah.
help me,
yeah,
and this is how I'll monitor
yeah,
Reagan. You understand? So that this is not compromised.
yeah, true.
Because remember, for a good chunk of time, sometimes a year, 2, 3, this is what feeds
Yeah,
this one.
yeah.
You understand? So what do we tell that one? And I know you can speak into this
Yeah.
because you started just you.
Yeah.
You understand? How do you figure out what systems is even at that starting level?
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that COVID happened. I don't love that people lost lives.
This
and
being
we lost our
sick,
loved ones.
yes, yes.
But for me, my business was birthed in COVID.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know if I've shared with this
You
with you,
have,
Flavia.
yes.
It was birthed in COVID. And I knew that there was a need for an online type of business. So I went online and decided, it depends on the type of business that you
Yeah.
have. At that time, if you were online, you were making money in COVID.
A lot of money.
So we realized that there was a gap. Schools were shut down, and I had this idea. It was just there dancing. Then COVID happens, and it was like just God saying, "This is the time
To start.
This is the time to start." And I just started. So I got the little savings. I remember at that time I was struggling with how to import these books in, and let me just give a proper appreciation to you, Miss Flavia, because in there I listened to was it a podcast or something?
Yeah, it was an Instagram live. We're talking about personal finance and how to
Yes.
develop ourselves.
And then
yeah.
and it speaks to the people that we listen to and the influencers that we're following and what value are we getting from them. So I listened, and there was a lady she was hosting, and she was bringing in goods from the UK where my books were stuck.
Yeah.
And she's saying, so I reached out, I actually purchased from them, but then I also said, but I
How
need
do
your
you do
plug.
it?
How do you bring
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
goods in here? And they connected me, and I, from then I've never looked back.
Yeah.
So when it's online, and now that I work up country, I work in Mbale, Tororo, but I'm managing that business because
Exactly.
it's online.
Yeah.
Yes, over time, 4 years now, it has evolved. We're doing books, just selling books, but now we have improved. We have a borrowing platform because then you realize the market trends.
Are
Parents say,
changing,
my
yeah.
child is a fast reader, they're done with this book, but I can't keep, buying. So then they go for borrowing. We've also realized that the parents are very busy to keep reading and keeping, because it's the reading culture. It needs, it needs time, it needs intention. You need to nurture that child to love reading. So then now we have started a bit of touching base here and there, but now I've evolved that now I realize I need an employee to at least keep the customer engaged, happy, delivering, you see. So yes, you've started. I thought I would do it alone and have my border guy.
It sounded easy.
It sounded easy.
Yeah.
But I thank God that it happened, and now I know that, okay, now I need this person. Now I need these systems in place. Now I need to monitor this person who's doing the business and how are they doing. So it slowly keeps building up. And yes, we're still online, but it's something that as you keep doing, you keep evolving and keep learning and keep building till that vision that you have, that goal that you desire for the business, till that gap that you see in the community. And in my case, children loving reading is fulfilled. Yeah.
What about when you do okay, so I guess we're leaders in our own way. You know the business continuity where things have to move even when you leave, whatever happens. Or you leave the company.
Yeah, true.
Teaching that, because remember you birth the idea of a business, you're like, I think I should sell juice. It is you. You bring it to life, but then you're not able to take that
and
passion to someone else.
Yes, you know. So you find that you almost want to micromanage because you're not sure they'll do it just the way you want. And that's now one of the things that will hurt your 9 to 5 or even your business, because your focus is now going to be almost divided. So we're talking to people who, because when you say if you work, most people work Monday to Friday, let's say. But most people actually even up to Saturday will work. So then you're left with a Sunday. But let's say you have both days of the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Now there are people who have families, for example, and now you've neglected that the whole week and you're like, let me give it time. Your business is not going to be able to get to that sort of level of life. Are we also suggesting that those who are in the 9 to 5, certain businesses are meant for them and others are meant for people who have the full time? I'm just putting it out there. I'm not saying this is what it is, set in stone. I'm just thinking out loud. There are businesses I cannot touch. With the time I have these days, don't even bring the idea to me. You know? Even if you tell me it's 100 million every minute. Do you understand what I mean? I'm like, there's no way that thing will succeed if I'm not seated there. You understand? So is that just me thinking in a weird way?
It could, but again, at the same time, if you don't have the time, but you have the money, you can delegate. Because that's where she is. She's busy, I am busy, but then you delegate. The unfortunate thing is we don't delegate, we abdicate, meaning you give someone the business and you run away. And you're like, call me when you need something.
And it better be an emergency.
Exactly, because you know I'm very busy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's wrong. Because remember, when you're starting these side hustles or businesses, they're family based on you. I love Brenda, that is why I'm supporting this business. I love how she talks to me. I love how Flavia responds to us. So many of the first customers you will get come because they love Flavia, they love Brenda, they love Vega.
That's true.
And the hurdle is when you're transitioning to the point where now you need to delegate or to give someone else the template that you've been using to run this well-oiled machine. What do? We abdicate. You find Flavia, I like her, she's nice, she's my friend. Actually, she's my sister. And then you give her the business. When you give her the business, we think we are delegating, but this is what you're doing. You're saying, she's good at maybe dealing with people. She will be okay. And then you give the business to her. All you do is to check in maybe once a week. How is everything? I hope everything is okay. If she doesn't call, you don't call.
Auntie busy.
Auntie I'm busy. but
we have a 9 to 5.
But remember, this business was family founded on you. To the point that you don't expect someone who doesn't have it in their fiber to carry these things the very same way you do from the get-go. So abdication is what we end up doing. Yet proper delegation is, I will be with you along the journey to see to it that you learn these things, you master these things, you carry forward my vision the very way that I need it to be carried forward.
So there's a system,
systems, exactly,
of when do we get feedback, when do we touch base,
and for any system, as you know, it's backed by data and simple data. This is what my customers need. Put it in place. That's data. This is what the end user expects. That's data. I put it in place. So we often start these businesses. You don't get enough data and you want it to succeed. What system is that?
Indeed. Actually, when I started the co-founding business for Kid Culture, I made sure I don't even, the business goes before Flavia.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately for me, that thing will happen where people come because of Flavia.
Yes.
And then when Flavia is, where is Flavia?
Yeah.
I'll call back.
I'll come when she's there.
I'll come when she's there. So for me, I made sure it gets a life of its own.
Exactly.
And I almost look like I'm just a support.
Exactly. That's sustainability.
Yeah.
Because I've been burnt before. You know when you learn, you learn on the job.
Yeah.
You understand. So somebody, I'm going to try and get your name so that we don't, we give you your flowers for what Maria. Asked a couple of questions. I think we've actually answered some. It's only two we've not probably touched on. Mistakes that people make when trying to turn their passions into a wealth building opportunity. Back to the other thing of now me, it's not branches or products, or it's me. You know, I have a passion for something, although ideally even you, it's a passion, you know, but you're turning it into a business. She's saying, are there mistakes that some of us will make along the way? Because we have our 9 to 5, there's a way we do things, and then you make a mistake because you sit thinking your passion is a business.
Thank you very much. And then the passion burns you, right?
Yeah.
You spend all your money trying to fix your passion. But how do we figure that a passion can be a business?
Business, like people say, okay, of course it's a general trend.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you go on social media, YouTube, you'll find everyone is telling you, you know, with your passion, you can start a business.
Yeah.
But you'll find many of us, you inclusive, you have so many passions.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love music, but you don't want to listen to me singing. I will close that business same day.
Yeah.
So the delusion is to think because I like something, people like it too.
Exactly.
There's, for example,
Or I probably met a few people who say they like it.
I like your voice. Some chances are they're lying sometimes. So, and the hurdle we have here is we are passionate about something, but you don't take the time to validate it. To know that people actually like it.
Do some research.
Exactly, research. Like I said, it's data.
Yeah.
So personally, maybe I like to sing. So my mom, my sisters tell me, you're good, you're good. But your mom and your sister are not
biased.
They're biased, one, because they love you and they don't want to hurt your feelings. But the actual end user who loves the music you want to sing, they have not gotten the chance to hear you out. So you start, you get burnt. Next thing is, I don't want to start business. Business is hard. For me, I don't know. But for me, the thesis of starting a business, or the foundation of starting any business, is, am I solving an actual problem that people need solved and are willing to pay for?
Go slow on that one.
Yeah, because we start things and
because I could actually be solved. So again, learn from mistakes. The fingers have been
you
burnt.
could be solving a problem, but no one is willing to pay for that.
Some people are willing,
Some people are willing,
not
but
scalable.
not enough.
Yes.
The market opportunity, the demand for
tiny.
that is very small. I gave an example recently. Some dude went ahead and made edible phone cases.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, edible phone cases.
Why would we want to eat phone cases?
Thank you very much. Maybe some people are starving in the other places, so they said make something we can eat as we go to heaven. You get. Then he went ahead and made edible phone cases. But I'm telling you, perhaps some of his friends told him, yeah, that's a good
idea.
Yes.
Go for it, go for it.
But have you taken the time to go to heaven and ask people who are in the moment to say, if I give you a phone case, would you actually eat it? Are there enough people willing to eat their phone cases?
Anyway, I have so many questions.
But I love what Regan has said, that look into the gap and see where are you filling that gap. Is your business going to fit that gap, and are you going to get monetary value from that gap? Exactly. And I was thinking about our members actually, when they get their money, when they get their NSSF at 50, 55, and they've not been in business for all this time. And maybe they also have a passion and say, now it is time to start my chicken business, because it's something I did farming, or I know farming, or I've seen people who are doing farming, but have not gone through to do that research and see what gap, where are they going to sell this chicken. I'll share with you a story of a client. I'll teach it a little. Of a client that we once paid, a very good sum of money, very, very good sum of money. And he had all these decisions to make with his money, because now he has reached retirement, and you've given him that big check. Apollo was telling us, some people have not touched that money, and there's money fever when it comes. So yes, he had a mortgage. I'm going to clear a mortgage. My kids at that point have reached university. I'm taking them to outside countries for university. So he panics when the money had greatly reduced, and then he had a brother who has been in the education industry for a very long time, and says, let's start a school. You have land. I am a teacher. I've been a DOS. I can be the head teacher in the school. I'll bring children on. I'll bring teachers on. And then he puts the money there. But then what happens?
People are not coming through.
People are not coming through. And I think this happened, by the way, before COVID. So you can imagine where that took him. Yeah. What
It takes
happened?
more than I just have the money.
Yeah.
And that's also, I guess, there's another level, and we have a few questions right after this. There's another level to get to now. I look at myself, and for the past, let's say maybe 4 years, money is not the thing. The things that keep me awake like this at night are the second level of money. Not how will I make money. It is man. Where am I putting the money? How am I growing the money? Because like you said, you're looking at your children, you're like, by the time the oldest is like, and now, like I said, some people are lucky enough to start this conversation and this knowledge at a point where it's just you.
Yeah.
Where you're not now, it's not just you and other people. Well, that's also another issue. You're not able to compromise so much if the money has to go do other things. You're 9 to 5, quote unquote. And I maybe even feel more for men, because the chance of men starting side hustles. I think you guys start side hustles because of your responsibilities.
We start side hustles because for us as men, the conquest is just thrilling. Like you want to do something. Yeah.
You guys just be there with risk pressure.
Yeah, like you know, like you, for example, if a job does not have that pressure, you feel like
that's true.
Yeah.
The minute I start getting idle,
like you start to please find attached.
Yes, yes. I need to be able to
engage
feel
myself.
the muscles.
Your energy has to be fully utilized.
Exactly. I have somebody asking, talk about the path of salary loans to kickstart investments. She says she or he actually says, in my opinion, using a 9 to 5 to access credit to start a business is cheaper than saving slowly to then say one day I will start the business. Then a couple of others. Let's just do that. I used to fear this part. I know Headmaster talked about risk. We are here. Low risk, anything with high risk, I'm like, bye. I don't want to lose money.
Gone.
You understand?
Let alone a loan. Money that's not
but
yours.
But also, let's allow that there's a majority of Ugandans who would rather, I would rather see my money still there than it reducing. So we were many. And some of you have left you there. Me, I've gone. You can lose the money. But do you know that even to get to the mindset where I can allow to lose money, I had to first be earning a certain level of money. You understand what I mean?
The cushion is there. You feel like, okay, now I can risk.
Exactly. Also, I have the cushion of dual income. I can say, worst case scenario, if I lose everything, we can live on Mr.'s salary. Not everybody has that.
I like how she's like, Mr.'s salary is dual income.
Mine is mine.
His income is our income.
But his is our...
You have that cushion.
Our cushion, you know? So, but you need to understand that those loans, right? I don't know, of course, they have a bad rep. People really say bad things about bofuna loan buwoti. That is the day money starts to go in different places. But I actually think they're good for you. Because if I know that I'm probably in this job for what? 5 years? And it will take me 3 years to pay this part of the salary loan. And yet that chunk can buy me, I don't know, a plot in one of those growing neighborhoods. And in the 3 years where I've finished to pay it, it has more than double, tripled. It's, it's value. Isn't that good for me? You understand that? I would think. Now, I'm not even talking about the money going in. They are saying no, but me, I'll represent you. I honestly believe that. You understand? Of course, I've said land, but some said to start the business. The business, of course, has more risk because now it needs constant managing and all of that. So me, I wouldn't take the loan for the business, but I would definitely take it to put in an investment that I know if it takes me 4 years to pay, in 4 years, this same thing will have
like
grown.
a more secure investment.
Like I told you, low, mid-risk. I'm not on the high.
My response to a personal loan, and I'm thinking maybe with a credit facility like a bank or something, I would go slow on that option. Right now, and I like to say that I'm born in the right age, in the right time, in the right space, where money talks are actually happening, where we can save in small circles that will give you interest 1%. You see, so before you go, and
the options are many.
The options are very many. But
you.
Also, you need to understand what are you going to use that money for, and what is the return on that investment. Because you're going to borrow the 5 million. Yes, you paid because you have the cushion of the salary to pay. But is it a bad debt? Have you put it in the business and it hasn't worked? Are you I know of people who then borrow and purchase an asset.
Yeah.
Help them maybe purchase land.
Yes.
And say, I will pay, but at least I have my land appreciating.
We are here.
Yeah, you're there. For me, in investments, land is something that is really a bit tricky for me till today, and I'm still learning because with Uganda's real estate, you've bought this plot, once they have passed the road, the price has gone up.
Yeah.
Or if your neighbor puts up a flat, the price has gone, has gone
Today,
up.
I can buy this part of the cushion at 15 million.
Yeah.
And Reagan buys it at 15, right? In 2 weeks, I say, Reagan, I think I need more space. I give you 20.
And you
No, 80, 85. You're like, but boss.
There's no clear regulation.
Yes. You know? I know
So
what you're
maybe
saying.
in that area, maybe, Reagan, you tell me. But to borrow, to get like a salary loan, especially from a bank which has averagely 18%, 20% on a salary loan, and then you're putting it in a business that maybe you're even starting and you're not sure on the returns of that business and how you're going to pay it back, I would say go slow. Like,
So is it
do
the go
proper
slow on
research.
getting it, or go slow because you need a foolproof plan of how the money will come back?
Of course.
Yeah.
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 That's what she's saying.
You have
But when are you ever guaranteed?
and then you
in
know,
business.
you know
So
you okay.
I know.
I
what
know,
You,
now-
I know what she's saying.
Whoever bought
Say
this
it,
question,
say
you're a
it,
problem.
Reagan.
So see, so with the systems we've talked about,
Yeah.
you know how much you're making. For example,
Reagan, there is no foolproof way.
see, listen, Flavia. When you do business like her, she knows generally is a good month for me. Generally, might not be, but chances are it will be because of the time I've been in business.
Yes.
So you know from the systems you have in place how your business, how productive your business is.
Yeah.
So my take on this is not very different from hers. I don't always recommend people to borrow money to start a business. No. Use your 9 to 5, save up some little money, start small. Validate the idea. See, is it something
working?
people are willing to pay for?
Yeah, I hear you.
Is the service good enough?
Yeah.
And if you've proven to get some consistent revenue from that idea or business, then I'll take a calculated risk, low risk, to see how do I scale to the next level. Don't have an investment of 1 million in the business. Then you're like, this is exciting. Get a loan for 500 million, 20 million.
Chocola.
No, my friend. The different levels of revenue demand different systems in place for you to sustain them. So yes, you can take a loan. I am for loans, but at what point are you taking this loan?
We're more concerned about for what?
For what?
Are you sure?
Are you sure? Because personally, I've also taken loans for my businesses because the levels I wanted to get, and for example, I need a particular equipment, and it's maybe 20 million. I don't have it cash. So I know from the revenue of this business, if I take a soft loan that requires this return, I'll be able to pay this back in 5 months. So good, I get it. But if I know I don't have means to have this paid back, I don't get luxury loans.
Don't touch it.
Pause.
I don't get luxury loans of
And they're offering.
No.
And you know those luxury loans, because now you have money, can now be diverted into other things.
Until the day you get the money is when, you know, it wouldn't hurt to go and have a meal with
You see,
on a date.
all
Then
of a sudden.
tomorrow, since Monday will come, let's...
That is indiscipline now. That is indiscipline.
The bad manners they
Bad
talked about.
manners they spoke about.
So I have Mamboko Emmanuel, an art exhibition curator,
Nice.
doing about half a decade of experience.
Okay.
Currently interning in an 8 to 5.
Okay.
You understand? And I've just 2 questions. Says, 1, how can I use my current internship and creative work to build a network that does both, you know, that thing of the impact, then the income? So then the second was, how do I measure? Because, you know, we say success, I'm making money, but what is the basis of measuring that you're making money? I can be in my 9 to 5 and 8 to 5, and I also have a side hustle, and I'm like, but what am I using to measure? So I think there are people who will, for them to get to that timeline of now is a good time to live, they need to be measuring certain progress. And we both know, or you all know, that measuring isn't just measuring how much money is coming in. I've watched businesses that have that curve where they make a lot of money, but they make really bad decisions. And they're not measuring the decisions. And when the curve starts to go down, it never returns
It's
up.
hard to pick up.
So what are we measuring to say we are successful? On whether it's, you know, I think mostly on the side hustle, really. I think this question is measuring on the side hustle.
Okay, but he spoke about
Emmanuel.
something. He spoke about something about him now working with an 8 to 5.
Yes.
And how can he leverage on that as he goes back to
Impact income.
the networks are good. There's a book I was reading, Nice Girls Don't Get a Corner Office, and in there was something she mentioned about a chip. Yeah, keep your chips, because one day you bank them. So as you work, as you interact with Regan, as I interact with you, Flavia, and all these people that you're working with, you need to be so good at the work that you're doing that you'll be their guy. As an intern, I remember my time as an intern, I promised myself to be so good that I'll be their person that they're calling for all the files, not to complain about the files, because as interns, really, that's some of the level of the work that you're going to do. But I'll do it exceptionally well and bank that chip and build trust that when I call on Brenda, I know that she's going to deliver with excellence. That when I call on Brenda, I know that she's going to show up and show up real good, and I can trust the work that she's going to deliver. Then that's good for you during your internship or your 8 to 5 internship.
So you're seeing far. You're not just trying to pick things
See
right
far,
now.
have a vision that is leading
The
you.
money will come.
The money will come. It will definitely
build the
come.
relationships out. Okay, so then, of course, their question on, I think it was about the time frame measuring, measuring the success, but or you can speak into any.
Measuring the success of their side hustle?
Yeah, because, you know, they have the timeline. We're saying, in 5 years, me, I'm leaving. You know, but then they're only measuring because I'm seeing money coming. Then they leave and they needed to measure some other things that are working in the business apart from just the money coming in.
As she said, any serious business has a vision, but most important, it has objectives. Why am I starting this business? For example, on her end, maybe she wants to make education accessible to children. That's an objective. Are you getting the feedback that is making you feel like you're achieving that objective? Besides the money. On my end, it's making sure eye care is accessible and also affordable for many Ugandans. Am I getting that feedback, that data that confirms for me that actually my success points are being hit as a small business owner? So for me, that would be one thing that they perhaps could consider. And then in the position that they're in, again, I want to touch on something that I feel is very critical when we're in such a position. That is nurturing strategic partnerships. It's very important, because when you see Flavia is perhaps highly influential in this space, and I need perhaps to work or collaborate with Flavia in that space, I want to nurture that partnership, that relationship. What touch points make sense for Flavia, for her to feel like we can maybe work on something together?
Pause. You just made a very important point. Most people start nurturing that relationship from the other question of, me, what do I want from Regan?
Exactly.
And you just flipped it and said you should always start with what does Regan want?
What touch points make sense for Flavia? Because if you realize Flavia, for example, in art, and she likes nature and all those things, interest yourself in those things. Because most relationships have levels. Perhaps Flavia is above you. You don't expect Flavia to come below. No. How do I interest Flavia? I have to find things that interest her. There. So consider working on strategic partnerships for the clients that you have right now, for the business that you're working in. And I think that would be a good way for you to get started.
Also, I wasn't sure if Emmanuel went into the internship for the networks, for their, you know, because this is somebody who says, I'm an art exhibition curator, a decade plus experience, and now they're interning in an 8 to 5. So I'm guessing that's why his question was around network, because I think it's like, now let me build the relationships. So I feel like they've done it the other way around. You know, normally you start here, build the relationships, then create your own thing, but that's unique. And somebody's just like me saying, I want to create the wealth, but passively. The energy every day, looking at it, talking to people, stop it, what I'm not going to do. And so the unit trusts are coming in. I know you were saying the real estate is there, but you know, it's yet you might say an end of business that you understand, and the people who are into land and real estate are saying, I would never touch that. I would never survive in that. It's important we also speak to the people who are good with that. I want to just put money somewhere and it grows. So let's also be open before we answer this question. When we say building your wealth journey, all of us, our definition of wealth is different.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
For some it's money, for some it's freedom.
Yeah, but also your number to retire is different from my number to retire. Is different from yours. Of course. What happens also when you have that number and it's too high and unattained? You feel like that's where smart goals come in. But SMART goals, I don't have. Okay, I have some money. I don't have most of the money.
I think you need to first calm down and understand how, be
Be
self-aware
realistic.
of that
Yeah.
number.
Be realistic.
Smart goals,
Yeah.
like specific,
Measurable.
but the point I'm looking at is realistic.
Yeah.
Where my business is at, I cannot say, I need to make $1 million US.
Yeah.
No, it's not realistic. Of course, as a business, you set maybe yearly goals,
Yeah.
2 years, 3 years. So I will not get frustrated if my 5-year goal is not hit in the 1 year.
Yeah.
Of course, because I
Right,
know it's not
right.
realistic.
Yeah.
So based on my current revenue, I can say I can comfortably make this many millions. And if I hit them,
Then I
voila,
move to the next.
I
Yeah.
move to the next.
Yeah.
So
Realistic.
realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even as you set those goals, and I'll talk more into also retirement, when you're setting those goals, you need to know that number.
Yeah.
And you need to calculate it and actually
Yeah.
know at the point of retirement, how much do I need to comfortably
Yeah.
retire and attain that freedom, that financial freedom. And I was speaking, so one of the things you can get from your 9 to 5 is get free financial advice or free experiences from the team. We
Right.
have a very brilliant investment team. Of course, you're trusting us with your NSF to invest it, so we employ the best. And these are people that we are working closely with. So me, I leverage on them and say,
Brilliant.
yeah, help me, because you're investing for the fund, 25 trillion, you know, biggest financial institution in East Africa. I have my money here as Brenda. Help me. So I'm getting a free consultation
Exactly.
from them. And one of the things that one of my friends in there told me, you need to first identify what are your expenses, just okay in a month, then push it to a quarter, then push it to half a year, maybe then a year, and understand what are your expenses. Now that number is what you need to work towards to, because if that job is taken away, in COVID people lost jobs and
Yeah.
woo, there was a lot of chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once you understand that number and know that in a year, these are my
Spend this much.
expenses, school fees, to retire or to leave and get out of that employment, my business or my passive investments need to sustain me comfortably, because I don't want to be poor, I don't want to retire and be sad and even burden my children
exactly.
to take care of me, because it will be harder. It's already hard for us right now. I don't see my children or putting on them that burden to take care of me when I'm retiring. So I need to identify that number, do that SWOT, then get my SMART goals in check and know that this is the number that I'm working towards to. And if my 9 to 5 is not delivering on this number, then maybe I need to now think deeper into my passive savings and my passive investments. Maybe I need to think into that side business.
Yeah.
Can it help me adapt this number?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that projection that NSSF does. By the time you are X age, you will have
This much.
well, if nothing
factors
changes,
constant,
yeah.
yeah.
They're just basing on what is currently
Coming in.
through.
your track record.
Yeah.
This is what, and so you start getting excited. You're like, I look forward to 65. I look forward to 50. You know, because you can kind of see. But the numbers are good to measure. What I was also thinking is, we're talking about life in general, but now I'll talk about like now me. So they're not burdens, responsibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are responsibilities that I say I must save for this, I must save for that.
Yeah.
Because it will add up for me in the future. Children's education.
Yeah.
And then I say, so it's an investment, right? I'm putting away something now, so I'm not to start a business per se, but so that in 10 years, when this one is X years, I am
that will
not
be okay.
looking for, I'm not starting afresh
Fresh, yeah.
to look
You
for
have
money.
something,
You
yeah.
understand? So it's almost like a fund, and that's why now people are talking about unit trusts and all of that. So I fear that most people think creating a wealth journey is just about you start a business and you just make money. The goal even goes beyond the goals for your business. I think you must start at the goals for your life.
Yeah.
Yep.
You understand?
Yeah.
At 50, at whatever age I want to retire, it will be me, it will be a partner, it will
Yeah.
be children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever number of children. Based on their age, they're still going to school.
Yeah.
Probably even in higher classes, which
Yeah, more
demand-
expensive.
Yeah, more money, yeah.
you understand. What will life look like?
Like,
So even the expenses, you must be able to compound them in that way to
Yeah,
say,
Yeah.
true.
this boy, if he eats 5 eggs every day, at like
I
13.
need to start a poultry farm.
You understand what I mean? Eh? You're like, so sometimes when we say look beyond the 9 to 5, someone is just looking at the success of the business. But you will eat that money because the goal wasn't to just start a business.
Yeah.
The reason you are looking outside your 9 to 5 is because the responsibilities need a certain number.
True.
So I think it's the defining of the number might be hard for people to define. I need a business that makes X per quarter.
Yeah.
That might sound complicated to some people. Just start with the goals in life. At that age, my kids will like, I want at least, you know how people, at least nyumba yangu.
And that burden of rent is taken away. Yeah.
Just, I can't be paying rent at 50. That's okay. That means you want shelter. You understand? Then you go to the next thing. Okay. So I would prefer, even when you're saving, you sort of put it in a place because your goals are 10 years down the line, you know. So I don't want them to be intimidated to, I must start a business. I must see it to life. Then the outside of the 9 to 5 is not just one way. You understand? When we say beyond the 9 to 5, it's not in only one way, because Brenda and Reagan started the business this way. Now all of us must do exactly that. A lot of people have asked about tools in place. I guess the systems they're trying to look for them to manage both ends successfully. You understand? Because that's come up a lot. All the questions are asking, what tools must I have in place? I think Maria also asked the same thing. What are some resources or tools that can make me get started on my wealth building journey outside work? So now, assuming Maria maybe doesn't have a business at all, doesn't have anything outside the 9 to 5.
Some money.
And then you look at the other person as well, who already has the side hustle and the job, and they're saying, what are some of those things in reality that I can put in place to manage both ends? And you know, there's somebody who has who has employed people who's watching this saying, that's why when people lose focus. You know, they're busy telling them to go, you know. They're busy telling them to look elsewhere. Maybe even the people who you employ, you need to support them in a certain way. I work in a very unique environment. You find that if Reagan is in my team, Reagan is a cameraman. You'll find that over the years, he's a producer. He can produce. So he has a chance for a second.
Hustle. Think.
And then you find that before you know it, he can edit. So now that's 3 opportunities to make money. So sometimes even the beyond the 9 to 5 is within
the 9 to 5.
Thanks. You know? But anyway, tools and resources on how we can, make both work. That's that one starting and that one who already went into it.
For now, I can touch on the issue of, like we said, when these businesses are starting, it's you. You are the heart.
Briefcase.
Yeah, you are the heart. Literally the bookkeeper, you're the marketing, CEO, all these titles, crisis manager, all those things. And over time, again, you realize that time becomes of the essence. It becomes rarer and rarer.
You need to be there.
You need to be there for both your job,
of course,
and the business. And part of the things that I tend to encourage people to do is, one, adopt automation. Simple things. For example, the business I'm in, I have clients that need to be scheduled. If I was to manually write every single one person down, I would do that for the rest of my life. But something as simple as Flavia, you're coming in next week Tuesday, just put in my Google Calendar, remind me. Saves me time. And people think
and we all have phones.
Exactly.
Well, most of us.
People have the illusion that they need to save hours first. No, you need to save minutes first to save the hours.
True.
So if I can save these minutes, they accumulate, they compound
over time
to eventually become an hour, 2 hours. So adopt simple technology-based tools. We have, for example, things on our phones, like something as simple as Google Keep. For example, if we're discussing something here, I could just record it on my phone for later to remember, and I'll deal with it later. Simple things that you have access to help you free up time, because as you realize, time becomes the most rare tool that you need, but you also do not have. Number 2 for me is always, if it's something that you really, really, really need to do yourself, do it. But if you don't, delegate it. Which pings into what we call the Pareto principle, 80-20 rule. You focus on the things, the 20% that brings in the 80%. So find out those things you have to do to bring in the most results. For example, at my workplace, I know my 20% is perhaps systemization of processes. I will not bother so much with who is controlling this, who's controlling. No. How do I ensure this process works together with this process? If I do that, rest of the things move simply and nicely. At my side hustle, I know the thing that I have to do is perhaps management. I will not get into customer service. I will not get into marketing. No, it's basically people management. If I do that, I will save up time versus if I had to go kodachi, ategwe, then you're like,
You
I'm
was a sour
overwhelmed.
maker.
Guys,
Did you come at 8
Exactly.
or 9?
So at the end of the day, you say, I don't have any more time left for me. No, but that's simply because you're not prioritizing.
Right.
So it sounds very basic, but trust me, when you start doing these things, you realize
They make a big
prioritization
change.
is it's actually the heartbeat of all these things. Knowing which wars to fight and battles to live is very important. You realize, okay, this I have to delegate to Brenda.
Yeah.
Brenda can do customer service.
Yeah.
She may not be the best, but I can support her to become what I want her to be.
Yeah.
Right.
I save up hours.
Someone
It's-
said that one of the limitations on this is patience, a lack of patience.
But you see, Flavia, how we have an HR who is planning and trying to recruit the best staff and employees to do customer service, to do that to do. I think it's the same principle we also need to take in our business. And also they dedicate time to train us to ensure, because maybe at the time I joined, honestly, I didn't know that NSF had sales, you see. But then they've trained me to
Over
understand
time.
the values and the goals of the fund. And now I know how to deliver them. Why not carry that then in your business?
Exactly.
And those principles. So as you employ somebody, have you even dedicated time to say, now this is what the business is. Am I selling that vision to you, and trust that you now have the knowledge and you're fully equipped to meet
do
my
it.
customers, and I'm not getting bad feedback of bad
The
bad
experience,
reception and
yeah.
bad experience. And I like where I say that then take care of the 20% that brings in the 80%, you see. So if I have, for example, now we're running with partnerships. We have partnerships with maybe child play areas where you know that I will deal with that discussion. I will talk to the partners, and then once we have agreed on what it's going to look like, then my staff can roll
Because it's not an
in.
everyday conversation.
Yeah.
So, and you can teach them to maintain
Maintain
those relationships.
Exactly.
Something came to mind to teach people who are watching. We don't want to sound very ambiguous. So let's start with this. Let's say you earn 2 million shillings. We start with the basic conversation.
Yeah.
In your 8 to 5, I've been told. I need you to just understand if your entire expenses fall in 1.5 million. Because they taught us not to start with expenses.
You go ahead. Mama, it's okay.
eh,
We are being realistic, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, let's be
A true
realistic.
Ugandan
Yeah.
saying.
Exactly.
So if you have 500,000 shillings, right? Left. And then you say, I can save all the 500, or let's say I can save 300,000 shillings times 12, right? For the year. Before the other drip, let's start here. Your reality is you have 300 times 12 to play in.
Yeah.
Now, you need to come back then and say, if you're not going to take Reagan as a loan, like, when I'm not going to touch those things, I will use what I have and grow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you have. So there are people who you can say, okay, you start with unit trusts. Don't just sit with the money as 300,000 as it is. At least add that percentage compounding. And then maybe be thinking, do you know what I mean? So the idea is, so we're starting from scratch with you, right? So then that first year you say, Carly, let me put that money aside. That car 300, I'll remit it to a unit trust. It gives me that car. Remember, I also have my NSSF, you know, so you're just planning on with what you have.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
And then next year you're like, I think I'm ready. I'm ready to at least take 50% of that and start my car business slowly.
Yeah.
I first see from 5 clients to 10 clients to 15 clients. That's not hurting your time in the 9 to 5, because again, you're still the manager, marketing, Then when it starts to, the next year you realize, Brenda is recommending the juice, Reagan is recommending, before you know it, you have 50 clients. I can't manage it, because now my boss is starting to say, you're coming in late, you're leaving, your lunch break is longer than it should be, because
Or dozing.
You're on a border, delivery, coming back. They're seeing random at the office because they've come for the delivery.
Or is being excused.
Excuse me, you know. So the best thing to do in that third year now is to do now the scaling and say, okay, it can't just be me. Let me invite Brenda in and say, Brenda, this is how I'll be with you. Genango Ndaba. We keep growing together.
Exactly.
Then the fourth year you say, things are starting to look good. This now, 5th year is when you make that decision.
Yeah.
Do I leave the job? Is it stable enough to take care of me? You understand? So I think that's rudimentary, yes, but it's the reality of how you should start that conversation. Because the minute you start, the biggest business right now working, just find land and put trees. The land is already expensive.
The trees take
by the
how
way,
long to grow?
And Flavia, I would like to debunk that thing that it's all over social media.
Yeah.
Someone comes and says, hey, we're investing in lights.
Yeah.
You put 5 million, you get 200 million. And people don't do their own due
research.
diligence.
And you know how someone tells you, all of a contracted with this year, come with me. You know, this is, guys, do
So
your own
do
research.
your own due diligence.
Yes,
Because people
yes.
come back. I usually mention that story that I had when I was starting out farming. If you go on TikTok right now or any other platform, you'll find people selling so many things. Like if you put in this rabbit, let's put
what?
tulima bumyo. Obumyo mu mwaka gumu.
Yeah.
Bugenda kuvamu bwabo.
Yeah.
So people don't take the time to actually find out how does
More.
this work.
Yeah.
Yes. And they just get the money and put in, end of the day they're frustrated. They say, it doesn't work.
Exactly.
Everything can work if you have the right knowledge applied properly, and then you ensure that you do exactly what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But people just throw money at bad ideas and they expect them to magically...
And then what is the business stakeholder?
business.
But it's not, it's you.
But
yes.
Flavia, even to speak to now the passive, the ones who are not cut for business,
Yes.
and they're still using that method of, you
Yeah.
know, saving 300,000.
Yes,
and then I think you could also look into that angle and say, I am going to save with Smart Life.
Exactly.
NSSF.
Actually, someone said if they could just break that down, you're the right person.
So if you choose to have a goal and say 1 year, we have now the Smart Life product, and you can say, I'm going to put this money, this 300K every month.
Because what is the starting point for Smart Life?
5,000.
Imagine.
So
So
you
my
just-
300, I'm already a baller.
Yes.
Hey.
So
Big
5,000.
boy.
But you see, once you set the goal and say in 2 years or in a year, I need to have gotten 1 million or 5 million, and this I've tagged it either for education or I've tagged it for my business or for retirement, whatever the goal, then that discipline has caught. Now you find that every month you've made the commitment the other side on Smart Life, and you're going to
Actually, you know what?
diligently
There must
save
be some new people, even if there are 5 on this.
and they don't know what
on
Smart
this
Life is
live. Yeah,
completely.
let's start afresh.
Smart Life.
How do you start?
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because this is a way to get beyond the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
So please tell us.
So Smart Life started about 4 months ago in November last year. Yes. And it's a product that the community, that the members have been yearning for. Because remember, NSSF is meant for retirement. At 50, 55, and maybe other benefits therein. But then there's this member in the informal sector, or even me in the formal sector, I'm saying, I need a trusted place to save my money, but also earn some income.
Yes.
And we felt the hunger of the members and said, let's do the Smart Life. So Smart Life is a platform, a product that is meant to help with small, shorter goals of saving.
Right.
You know. So you can say, I want
What's
to
the
save
shortest?
We try to push you to
So that
to
you
at
get
least do a
something
year.
tangible.
So that you get something tangible. And it has worked wonders. We have seen that actually people want to save, and I think that's the right direction in building a saving culture among Ugandans. Because if after a year, maybe you've somehow found a solution for that particular goal. Continue, push it to another year, 2 years, 3 years. Maybe after 5 years, it has now grown and say, now I'm ready to start that business that I wanted to do. Or now I can get this money and maybe put it in another investment that I have been thinking about or researching about and planning for. But the intention is to start saving. You know, Flavia, you can say, oh, I'm going to save this year. 2025 is for saving.
There's a deal coming.
Yeah, there's a deal coming. But where?
This year.
Yeah, but where are you saving that money?
Yeah.
And feel some kind of restriction not to touch it.
Yes.
You could have a saving account in the bank, but you have the ATM. And tomorrow you have your black tax, someone has
ATM, you've
called
gone
you.
far. Do you know how many times I log into
you
the
have
bank? Online banking.
Yeah.
I was
was the
actually about
problem.
to ask you, what is stopping me from saving with my bank?
Yeah.
And I'm saving with NSSF.
Yeah,
Now
Smart
I'm
Life.
thinking like a typical Ugandan.
Yeah.
Crutching quarter centers and with NSSF.
Interest.
Tell
So,
me.
So our interest is annually, but you earn daily. And it's credited every
Compounding,
month. Yeah. So it's credited on your account every month, on your Smart Life account every month. Please note it's a bit different from the mandatory, the one from the employer,
Because this is me coming and willingly bring my 300,000.
voluntarily, yes. And we don't have a limit that today if you put 5,000, because you're in business, right? You're earning daily or monthly. Today you put 5,000, but tomorrow things can come and you get that windfall and say, I have 10 million, I have 5 million,
Yeah.
let me put it in there. For us, we shall continue investing that money and giving it to you every month.
Is it just for the members who are currently on
Who
saving
have
with
accounts with
NSSF?
NSSF?
It's for all Ugandans as long
Oh,
as you're
okay.
16 years and above and
Wow.
can save, actively save. We have parents. I have a gentleman that came into our office and said, you know what? Every Christmas we slaughter a cow, and I save in a village something
Sacco,
circle,
yeah.
and we cut it. What if I start December, end of December? Will I have that money by? So he's saving for his cow for Christmas. That is his goal. And
What?
it's okay. Yes, because in December they have to have a big party.
Yeah.
So you can set your goal and say, maybe I'm going to save for school fees, or I'm going to save for the small business that I want to start. Or I also have a mom who's saving for her children under her name, but she has tagged those goals, Brenda, you know, Israel, and say this is for maybe their school fees at this time.
Yeah.
But she's still earning from other sources. And I know that when 3 years come and she still can maintain their school fees, she can still carry on that
We need
saving.
to know that interest.
I was about to tell you. Interest.
We are here.
I was just I'm like,
We're like, tell us.
I was like,
Yeah.
interest. Where's my notebook?
Yeah. Right now it's
Interest.
currently at 12%, yeah. But remember, it's credited monthly, but on a daily you can see it's something similar to what the unit trusts are giving.
I was about to say, yeah.
But here you have now the trust of NSSF. And surprisingly, the people that are coming onto the Smart Life are our Owino people that have said, Mbamani, let me give
Also
you my
some they're earning
5K.
daily,
Yes,
exactly.
let me give you my
Exactly.
5K, and every day this person, this market vendor, this border guy will just dial a code and that money will be sent to their Smart Life account.
Okay.
So it's as easy as that. It's
so
called
it's
Smart
as-
Life Flexi. Makes
so
it very
it's
easy.
very easy. You don't have to go to the bank
No,
deposit
no,
the
no.
money just on your phone.
At the
and
comfort
gone.
of your phone.
Actually, somebody was asking for us to share how to be deliberate about saving if you have this issue of black tax. And I'm like, this is a good way. Put the
Just
money.
put the money there and keep quiet.
Sizina.
See, that's it.
Exactly. And when you don't have the money, you don't have it.
You don't have.
Yeah, the dynamics of withdrawing it
Yeah.
already, Smart Life is telling you 1 year, so you don't have the money to.
Yeah.
Actually, because
Into
this
that
person is
black
giving
tax.
the excuse of our families make us fail to save.
Just throw the money there and
Yeah.
Your
you have
money
it.
work.
This one says, how can I start a business in a place far from my work location? And they go on to say, for example, you work in Kampala, and then you have identified an opportunity up country, but obviously you can't keep going back and forth. If I go to Chinoni and I say, this thing works, then I get excited and I invest, but I'm, this side in Kampala, I'm not able to now. Delegating is also now too much because I'm barely going to be there. So I think that's what this person wants to know. How do I manage it in that?
I work in Entebbe. My businesses are in Kampala.
Yeah, Baban. How do you do it?
Delegation.
Yeah.
Delegate.
You
I
have
work
to
in
delegate.
Mbale. My business is majorly in Kampala.
Yeah, so you have to find a way to let people in because we have this fear. Omuntu wanziba, that fear is always there, trust me.
But
even with our employers.
Regan,
Let me be
Batumba.
honest. Let me be honest
That's
with you.
the truth
Let me be
also.
honest with you, Flavia, because we're being honest.
Yeah.
Even with our own employers, people go to those jobs and not steal, but take advantage of particular things that they see to enrich themselves in a good way. Not like go and take 500 million, but you see, for example, your current employer gives you maybe opportunity to undertake short courses. You go, voila, nice. And at the end of the day, you use them for your own benefit. Am I lying? You do.
Yeah.
But that's
even by you having a side hustle,
exactly.
you're using their time.
Exactly. So
do that thing.
it's an inevitable risk. It has to be there because you can read people, but unless you're psychedelic, there are things that you will not see.
Are you
coming.
asking us to accept some risk?
You
like
have to
Headmaster
accept
told
the
us?
risk of human
Don't
resources.
fear risk.
Exactly. The human resource risk is
yeah.
inevitable.
Yeah.
There will always be that one tomato who will flip you over and do
Yeah,
some not
yeah,
nice things to you.
Then
but
you learn.
then you learn.
and
So maybe this particular trait, if I'm hiring someone, I have to be keen on it. But you have to delegate. It's like saying a parent, I don't want the child to go to school. They will compromise them. You have to let the child go.
Yes.
That is business.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have to let that business in Gulu go for it to grow beyond you.
Yeah. So someone has asked, how can I efficiently manage human resource, which I think you just brought, because this one says, I've actually realized it's my greatest barrier. Of course, they didn't give any details. I'm not able to know which particular aspect of, whether it's sometimes it's finding the right people. I have actually, she's a friend now, but she used to be my boss in South Africa. And I thought she was the most brilliant boss. She knew what to do, how to support. Like, they move the organization as if they own it. She started a business 5 years ago in Ghana, and she says, she said, I was looking at the person I hired, I'm paying them a lot of money to do this, and they were yawning. And I'm like, but yawning is a reflex.
It's a reflex.
Okay, it's just, she said,
Why
I don't know,
yawning?
something happened when I'm the one who is putting the money. I became someone else.
Your skin is in the game now.
Yeah. She says, so now I find that I hire people and I'm just unhappy about everything. Then I want to hire Rega to come. Rega nanyi is it's my money. You know, so even the letting go is in that mindset. It's not just mind first and then the others. But this one asks, if you're employed in the 8 to 5, what do you say about a side hustle that is in line with your work?
8 to 5.
Yeah.
Better for you.
Better for you, isn't it?
Because you have the startup cost is low. For example, you may be in finance. I have friends who are in finance, accounting. They are the resource itself.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
literally
Their
just
knowledge, how they do things.
So their knowledge is the actual asset
They are
that
the
they
business.
have. On my end, there's no business I have started that I am, okay, maybe now currently, but before that I'm experienced in.
Yes.
For example, I'm not an optician,
Yeah.
but my business is in eyes.
Yeah.
You get?
Is it better?
I would also just recommend that then you look also at your contract, because you don't have conflict of interest. I know that there are some contracts that we sign, yes, that you cannot have a conflict.
Spoken like a manager. The manager has brought us back. Look at your contract.
Because you know you can
Yeah.
just be put down and say, you know, you're contradicting, you know, what you're doing.
Yeah.
If I start a fund management something of my,
You're competing.
because I'm
You have-
competing with NSSF.
Ethics also is
Yeah,
important.
the ethics
yeah.
are
Yeah.
important. So you need to also look at your contract and
Yeah.
be very careful with it. But I also want you, Flavia, to say something about it, because even in your line of business,
There.
in your line of work, yes, you're into broadcast, but you as Flavia, you're the asset.
Absolutely.
You're doing all these gigs of speaking. Yes, they fit into your work, but I think you're actually the best person. You're the one.
I'm very open to speaking
Yeah.
about it, because all the jobs I have held in the broadcast world, whether here, beyond Uganda and whatever, I've had to be the talent. Even when I was producing or editing or you are not directly leading the person to person, you're leading the content. So what then would be embedded, because I remember most of my contracts had to be unique, if I can say that. Because you get to a point where you're getting a bit, you have a brand and there's a brand. So then
Somehow is aligned.
yeah. So for me, what I would say is, I win, you win. I lose, you lose, right? So the idea is to not go anywhere as just Flavia. We go together.
We go together.
We go together.
So if I win, you will win.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's unique, because I remember one of the jobs that I went into, the policy was that you couldn't do anything
That is the same.
But
as if the
related.
same. But they twisted it when I came in, because you have to show the opportunity for the organization
Yeah.
for
if
to
you are
do
going
that.
to do that
That
thing
is-
that
yeah.
looks like our thing.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things we need to look into. But for me today, because I am leading the teams, I have to sort of take a back seat. Because now I have talent I am managing. So now my job then becomes how I knew how to put a light on myself, I have to now teach them how to do that thing.
Yeah.
So now these are the Flavias now. So that they become the people who win and we win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just because that's the nature of my
Your role,
position
yeah.
right
Right
now.
now.
But I would say that, I mean, you can't really, yeah. But so also some jobs, it's not just about the NDAs and everything. Some jobs don't allow you to have, I don't think they say it directly, but they don't allow you to have side hustles. Yeah, the master of fearing risk, headmaster, is back with us. But yes, some organizations do not allow you to
have
Hustle
that.
in
Yeah.
the main hustle.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, you know.
And Flavia, I think what we're saying here is don't hustle in the main hustle.
Yeah.
Please
But it is
respect
the same
your 9 to
time.
5.
It is
Yeah.
the same time.
Sir Headmaster Sir will tell us, because you see, also I think a challenge that we're facing as NSSF and the members is getting that money at 50, and someone asks you, now what do I do? I've
Yeah.
not been in
Yeah.
business all this time. I don't even know where to start from. But what we're encouraging is try and expand, have these money talks. See, is it a business that you,
Information.
can you do it? If you realize and say, the side business, I don't even have the time for that side business.
Yes.
Can I put my money, my savings into some passive incomes that can bring me that wealth. So that by the time NSF gives me my check at 50 or 55, I'm not in shock. I'm better prepared because it hurts. And Sir Headmaster Sir was showing us the numbers that you give people money, we pay out those billions, but the economy is not feeding it.
You wait for these same people to come and boost the economy, and
it's not there.
they're not there.
Money is going, money is being wasted.
But also, don't you realize in essence what NSSF has done by having such talks?
Yeah.
Because it is to say, Kale, we've seen the problem, now let's work backwards.
Yeah.
So if you know now, if in 10 years is when you want to come pick your money, you know. You know exactly what to, or even the 9 to 5 conversation, even now you know what to do before you now take the NSSF chunk, which is why that 5K or more, you start doing it now so that you're boosting. So I'd commend you for that. The questions and interactions, quite many, but we wouldn't be able to get through that. What I would tell you, I think our experiences are quite different, so we'll do our part in shorts. But for me, mine is to say, for those of us who use the smarts to do the side hustle, is the discipline is key. No matter how much you're earning, little, or because also even those who earn 100 million are saying I earn very little money. I don't know when they'll increase my salary, you know. So yeah, so the idea is to have discipline around money, starting with what do I want to be. At 45, my life should be like this, and then now measure it. Don't just say it in, you know, measure what that would look like, and then, you know, start to go towards that journey, whether it is saving, whether it's passive, like some of us who are afraid of risk. Side Master is here, but we fear risk. Whether you like it or not, we are here and we are well represented. So for me, I'd say start slow, go slow. Don't be under pressure because other people have invested in 7 branches of a business. Go at your pace, but go nonetheless.
Yeah. And thank you, Flavia. Fearing risk is actually a good behavior.
Okay.
When you see everyone being greedy, you need to fear. When you see everyone fearing, you need to be greedy. And it's a phenomenon we use in investments. But there is unhealthy fear.
Yes.
The fear that immobilizes you on doing nothing. And actually then using it to rationalize of you're doing nothing. The fear that when I put my money in a unit trust, it will get lost. The fear that when I do this, when I put my savings in a circle, those people will steal it.
What if they run the business goes out of?
That's very unhealthy fear, and it's prudent that everyone understands their fear levels, their risk levels, not fear levels, but their risk levels. There is no investment that is 100% risk-free. And just speaking from this particular discussion, we all got married to people we didn't know. Can you imagine that type of risk? You bound your life. Risk. You bound your life to someone
who you didn't grow up with.
And now all of a sudden you are living in the same house. You are with no one. Like, you are living with a stranger
and
in
actually
a house.
And even made other people.
A life.
Even the people are not yet coming. So you close that door and
with a stranger.
So you took a risk and it's paying off.
Yes.
So you just need to understand which risks you need to take. But when you immobilize yourself and you say, until there is something 100%, I can't find that thing. I can't find it. So it's okay, it's principally okay to respond to the risks that you can manage. And every person at every age, gender, nationality, they respond to risk differently.
Yes.
There is a time, as we start winding up, there's a time when I was investing in businesses where I could actually get out of the office and I run after the border guy who hasn't brought my money. Right now, I can't take that risk.
No.
Like, when you find me running after that border, you would think, what's Headmaster doing?
Like, they've stolen something.
No, you would even start thinking that I am the one torturing the guy.
Yes.
Yet he's the one taking my money. So he sort of starts getting the sympathy and saying, so so you need to you now evolve and you say, now for me that's now high risk, I can't take it. Yet at a certain age I could.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's absolutely, and when children come in, it all changes.
Absolutely.
Now you stop living for yourself and start living for them.
Human beings.
Now you can't travel you can't move at night, yet you used to be on border. You had the border guy for 2 a.m. Now all of a sudden you need to be at home.
He's out of employment.
Exactly. So risk evolves.
Yes.
But the whole thing is to start knowing yourself. Why we do this, and you kept hinting on it, why we do this is because we understand this conversation is not a one-off.
Yeah.
It needs to be in people's head.
Consistent.
People don't lose money at 55 when they get it.
They lost it.
These people have been losing money from the first paycheck. Like they get it, their muscles, they are used.
They take-
pick money, lose it.
Yeah.
Pick money,
And
lose it. Now
eat-
when you
eat
get
as you earn.
and you get the big check,
Yeah.
you will still lose it
Do
because
the
your
same.
muscles that comes easy.
Absolutely.
So this is supposed to invoke. And ours is talking.
Yeah.
And if Shadrach is kind enough to please put back that QR code. Because then when Brenda tells you that smart life,
Yeah.
that's you acting. That's you taking the risk to someone else. So yes, I fear losing money, but I have put my 5K with NSSF.
Yeah.
Now NSSF, you are the one holding the risk.
Yeah. Figure out how to
Figure out.
multiply,
And
yeah?
for you, what you will start, you will be a keyboard warrior. We are not getting enough. And our interest
It's
is
an
not getting-
automated
interest
system.
at
things like
Yeah.
that. We need so much, even if you have put 10,000.
Yeah.
I am glad to report that, and she mentioned about it, that when we went into a winnow, and these are people you typically think won't. They first told us, why bring us a product of 5,000? Why do you think we won't?
Yeah.
Then number two, why are you giving us flyers in Uganda? We want English. We have studied. And
Yeah.
guess what? There's quite a number of graduates and they have
Yeah.
understood.
Wow.
So we have a particular lady who does 3 savings every day. 10,000 in the morning, 10,000
Or
at
you
midday.
can actually
Yeah.
put in money every single
Multiple
day.
times.
For
yeah.
them, it's as our purpose is a way of life. In your way
Yeah.
of life. As
Yes.
corporates, our way of life is 24th, 23rd, 21st.
Exactly.
That's when we
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
it.
It's an
Those guys, their
illusion.
way of life
Is
is the
every
morning,
day. Yes.
in the mid-morning, and in the evening.
Wow.
So she puts money in there. So if Shadrach has put that QR, please scan it and start saving. It also takes 5K. Command 5K. I mean, guys, command 5K. Command
I like
it.
the
Go.
command.
Send it. Send it to go and make money. Risk it. Okay,
Wako
if let's say
chonkolera,
we are-
eh?
Get
Send
of
it.
nature. Go and because the ultimate source of money is all of us, and in the corporate world, we are working for money. I am working for money. But the ultimate goal is for money to start working for me.
For us,
Yeah.
yes.
So I need to start practicing. Send 100K. Send it and say, where is it? I have a demo account here. So I started one here. I hope I can find it. Yes, this is, I don't know if that guy can zoom in. This is my, I put 5K and I said I'm only putting 5K on the Smart Life. So you can have multiple. So don't ask me the other ones. You won't see them. But this one, 5, I don't know if you can.
Multiple, as in I have one.
Different goals.
So you can have.
Oh, it's
you
the
can-
goals.
You can
Yeah.
allocate. So
Ah,
this
you
one,
have finished me.
This one is
That's
a demo.
different.
So this goal is demo.
The
I have
holiday,
one
the what?
for King. I have one for Gold. Those are my children. I have one for just eat co. Just eat
Eat
co.
as you earn.
That.
Sebo.
Oh, it has gone. Yeah, sorry. But now this, Brenda, just to speak about. If you look at it's already giving interest. So my 5K has earned me 100 shillings in the
I've
last 2
seen
months.
that, yeah.
And it's posted there. So your questions now start, but that 100 shillings, I can always get it from someone.
And that's the
Yes.
that is the problem.
So then you don't have to do 5K. Put 5 million. That's
and
it.
see how it turns
And
out.
50K.
50K.
Yeah. 50K. Just keep adding a zero. So don't look at the 100. Look at how much you have put in.
Yeah.
Because when this number changes,
It also changes the.
it has gone.
But let me also ask.
Yes.
So is this? Am I going to a whole new app? Am I using my current existing app?
No, you are actually on
It's
your
embedded
On
within.
your same
yes.
app,
same
Yeah.
same access but different
same
wallets.
NSSF number, the 13 digits.
So I just go back to the app and just start it.
Yes, we just scan our QR code. Don't even go into the app and just scan the QR code. It will, and then you'll start saving.
I have to
1, 2,
commend
3.
Apple. That's
Yeah.
it's a really brilliant product. And you know what's saddening? Imagine I was just hearing about it. I'm exposed technology-wise. Imagine how many people don't know about this.
Yeah, unfortunately, the corporates were the last to know about these things.
COVID hit
and
us,
and
what
it-
hit us,
and-
corporates, eh?
And yet there are many people who want
And
to
yet we are in the
adopt.
9 to 5.
Yeah.
Who needs
So
to go beyond
what
it?
is happening is right now, it launched in November.
Yes.
We are now at about 12 billion. It has amassed 12 billion.
Wow.
And of that 12 billion, I don't have Kapma's money. I
Imagine.
don't have Flavia's
Flavia's
money.
money.
And
We are here asking you.
asking you these questions.
Which app?
English
Where?
app.
English,
English to me.
And yet there are many corporates who want to partake of
Definitely.
such a thing.
Please, and we have
We
opened
need
it
it.
up.
The
We
people
have
in the
opened it
95
up.
need it.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
that, we need to have every Ugandan. Right now, social security covers only 11%.
Yeah.
We need to have every Ugandan get onto this. So we are up country. we are out like we are in the refugee camps, we are in the markets, just to get
You need,
that
but you need to reach
please
access.
get your housemaids on this. Get your housemaids so that she understands
So
that
she's
I have a
money
benefit.
somewhere.
I have a benefit with my employer.
Now you brought the conversation of are they already meeting NSSF? Are they have an NSSF number?
Right now,
Voluntary.
It's
you are not an employer.
Yeah.
So what is happening is you are voluntary saving for her.
Yeah, yeah.
So
yeah.
don't even worry that we shall come after you for compliance.
Regan.
But we need to wind this up, and I really want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen. It's always a pleasure. I've been going through the conversation. I usually log in when I do this introduction. I log in, then I walk around this compound just to feel like, and then people start waving at me. Then they think I'm a resident here. We are in the Solana estate, and it feels good to walk around in these bungalows, and then people asking you, "Are you a resident?" And I say, "We have interest. We definitely have interest as members in this Solana. Please, if you can buy, come by. If you can even come walk through and check where your tile is, which part of you, the part of your house. It's absolutely just come, walk in. There is an office you can contact. But as we wind up this discussion, 9 to 5. I mean, I'm beyond the 9 to 5. Yeah. I have had another side of Flavia. I had we profiled the light bulb moment on our YouTube. Please go to our YouTube. You will find Brenda there. But that was when she was still. Now she's so up there. She's talking to the Flavias. I'm the broker. I used to be a broker, but now she doesn't. Well done.
Apollo.
Well done.
Thank you.
We sit on the same building now. Getting her had to go through a PA over here.
Get on my calendar.
Get on my calendar. Then I went to her boss, who just had to force her into this. But she's a busy woman.
Yeah.
Congratulations. We need to reach that point.
Well done.
Regan, thank you definitely. But before we go, homework. Headmaster always has homework, and I need to understand. What is it? What is that one thing, one video, one book, one billboard, one newspaper you can recommend? You think that has done something with you, for you, by you, I don't know, within you, without you, I don't know, that you can tell our people, to our viewers, our participants, to go and experience that one video, book. She's a book person. She's also the president of the book club in NSSF. Yes, so Miss Madam President. So she's Madam. I know for you have quite a mouthful, but I would for the benefit of mine, of the non-readers, I know there are also videos, audios, billboards. Yes. So there are people who are incapable of even reading billboards. So I'll start with Regan.
Perhaps for me it's a recommendation. It's a video I watched about 8 years ago by Warren Buffett. He said something very magical. I just want to make that statement. It changed everything for me. He said many people start businesses and things in that nature to satisfy customers. But those are not businesses that stay for long. Businesses that stay for long are businesses that are started to delight the customer.
Wow.
To make the customer feel, I am glad I came here.
Yeah.
I am glad I came for this webinar. You've delighted me.
Wow.
Thank you.
For full disclosure, that's what I also go for.
To delight the customer. Wow.
Thank you so much.
I'll look
Flavia.
So mine is because when you spoke earlier and we spoke, I realized habits are a problem. And then we also fear the when they see 100 shillings, they're like, oh God, when will it? So it's a book and a human being, the person who wrote the book. You follow them, and also the book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. I never stop recommending it because he describes and helps you aspire to start small and start with one step forward. If it's a very small book, Atomic, you can even read it if you're a reader. But if you're not a reader, even on YouTube, he has a way he's been able to break it down. And it's just teaching you how every day you wake up, what's the one thing you can do? And so you can apply this into the finances, into the friendships, into everything. Yeah.
Nice.
Atomic Habits.
James Clear.
Yes.
Oh, I love it. I
See
love
the
it.
reader.
The reader
gets it.
No, it's
Madam President.
It's a nice one. Thank you, Apollo, and thank you once again for the opportunity of being here. Yes, I am a reader. I I love that we need to build a reading culture in children when they're younger, because I know the adults I have at NSSF in the book club, they are struggling. So now let's go for the children. Mine will also be a book.
Don't report us. I mean,
There are many, but that's the good thing. We have a community and we're helping each other get better. I will also recommend a book. It's Ikigai.
Oh,
Yes, because even as we do
Japanese,
these businesses, even if as we do the passive incomes, even as we work, we need to realize our purpose.
Yep.
And Ikigai is a book that awakened me to discovering purpose. So we all have our Ikigai that wakes us up every morning. So I implore you to find your Ikigai and honor it.
all right. Thank you so much. Thank you for the homework. I am going to challenge you, Brenda, because you work with the NSSF adults. I work with the NSSF member adults. We probably need to have a book club for NSSF members.
Members.
Yeah, I am going to challenge you.
Okay.
And please, the next time I come to, I'll report on progress. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have given a challenge,
accepted.
and we shall be reporting
Witnesses.
on progress, and we'll definitely. I
something.
feel like we can do something good.
Yeah.
I get, personally, I get to read books because of the book clubs we have at NSSF. She has one, then my unit has one, because she trained someone who also, Anna Maria, you know her, she's a semi-president for the book club now. So I basically read all the books I've read, or I'm forced to read, is because I'm preparing for the book club. And they virtually change so much. They change the way I walk, they change the way I talk, they change the way. So, guys, we hope. So, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, Brenda. Thank you so much, Regan. Thank you so much, Fula, Bure, and Regan. For NSSF, we are always going to be doing this. We shall always strive to have this discussion. And remember, ours is to talk. Yours is to act. The QR code is going to stay on there as we sign out, for you to continue acting. I will continue doing this, and I will continue getting paid. You do not get paid for continuing to learn, and you don't do anything. When you learn and act, you definitely get paid. I get paid, you get paid, we are all happy. And then we shall be neighbors in the Solana village. Thank you so much. See you next time.
All right.
Thank you.
As the sun rises across Uganda, a new dawn in luxury living awakens. Solana Lifestyle in Residences is Uganda's newest, most prestigious and award-winning lifestyle destination, an address for those who dream differently. At Solana, you're close enough to the hustle of the city, but far enough to come home to a sanctuary of smart living. Join a community of like-minded individuals where everything is taken care of and safety and security come standard, where each community has a clubhouse, play area, pool, and other incredible features. Let an oasis of calm greet you at the end of each day with manicured gardens, pathways, parks, bicycle tracks, and so much more. Whether you're upscaling or settling down, Buying a first home or investing?
Solana has it all. Uganda is now open to the world.
Imagine waking up to a dream where luxury meets tranquility. Welcome to Solana Lifestyle and Residences, a sanctuary of elegance where every detail is curated for your comfort. From impeccable security to serene garden pathways, Solana offers more than a home. It's a lifestyle. Now, your dream is within reach. Solana's exclusive New Year's sale is here. Buy your home today, starting from just $139,000 US. Solana Lifestyle and Residences, now ready for occupancy. Live, work, play, and shop the Solana way.